Something I've had to learn lately is that no one actually cares. You know, people are just waiting for you to stop talking so that they can talk about themselves. When I share something about me, it's not meant to be an opportunity for you to start talking about yourself. If I share something, whether big or small, and you don't take even a moment to acknowledge what I've said before starting on something about you, it makes me feel very insignificant and like no one actually cares. While I don't believe a lot of people are doing it on purpose, it does sort of baffle me that people don't actually take the time to listen to the people around them. They talk at people. They're a sounding board. You know, people become this vessel for other people to just unload onto. It's got to be reciprocal. It's got to be that back and forth. You know, if you do relate to something that someone said, like if someone says, oh, I didn't sleep very well last night, and you launch into, oh, I haven't slept well for the past 7 years or whatever, you know, that's not fair because it makes that person feel like what they've said doesn't actually matter, or, oh, I guess I don't have it as bad as you, so I should just shut up. It makes people want to not share anything when the way that the other person is communicating doesn't show them that what they're saying matters. You know, I'm talking quite specifically about work, but more generally, people tend to do this. At work, I've basically just stopped sharing anything about my personal life, about what I'm doing, because anytime I bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, I had this happen. Oh yeah. You know, it goes straight back to them. Not like, oh gosh, I'm sorry that happened to you. And tell me more, or what did you do next? Which is something that I always try to do. You know, at work I've been called a good listener. People have actually said quite recently, wow, I've never actually shared that with anyone. And I believe it's because I take the time to actually listen and care about and have a genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Everyone has struggles. Everyone wants to be heard. And I understand that because I haven't always been heard in my life. So, you know, I make that effort to make sure that the people I'm talking to feel valued and like what they're saying makes sense, even if it's not necessarily like how I would have dealt with the situation or something that I'm going through. I want them to know that they're, valued. Their feelings are valid. I might share something that I can, you know, relate to show that I've understood, but I'm not doing it as a, here's my story. Thanks for sharing something about yourself, because it's given me somewhere to start sharing about me. You know what I mean? Yeah, things have been really interesting at work because I've been having like a little bit of a messy time. Won't get into it too much in this video. Just a lot of thinking to do lately, and I haven't been like doing the best mentally, and yeah, I've had some real backstabby comments, real two-faced behaviour happening, and it's been really tough because, you know, that just makes me feel so much more undervalued and misunderstood. People aren't taking the time to even like ask, are you okay? How are you sleeping? How's, but they'll launch into their life story. Yeah, it's made me really distrust the people that I work with. Passing on things to our manager about me. That are very black and white. It's like I have one bad day and say something a bit snappy to a customer, and suddenly I'm condescending and my customer service is really slipping. There's no acknowledgement of the work that I've done. I'm not expecting praise and like a sticker chart, but like, I do my absolute best when I am at work. I try. Some days it is so hard for me as someone with social anxiety and incredibly introverted, incredibly low social battery, incredibly sensitive to sound and people and external stimulant. I try my best and it really feels like a stab in the back. Because now my manager has this view of me that I don't think is accurate. It's all based on hearsay. I had a really good day at work on Friday. I did some visual merchandising, which is something that I really thrive at. I felt like I was feeling a bit better because I was recovering. I had almost fully recovered from a cold. I was feeling so much better. And then at 5 p.m. when her shift was set to end, the manager's shift, she has this talk with me, and it was just like, God. Some days my 10% is my 100%, if that makes sense, if you're familiar with that sort of concept of like what you can give. Your 100% shifts depending on the day. Would they rather I called in sick? I was also told, I heard that you went out the back the other day because you were stressed and you had to sit down and have a break. And you can't be doing that, and we need you to be on the floor, and we need you to be prepared for the Christmas season. And taking away that coping strategy is really not good, because as someone that's very, introspective, or I need to think through things, if I don't have that break to reset and regulate, things are just going to get worse. I'm taking that break when I feel stressed, or there's been a rude customer, in order to get back on track. Because then if I have to just keep pushing through, that's when I'm going to say rude things. Things are going to slip out because my cup is already overflowing. And if you add more onto it, like, it's just going to explode. Like, there's no other way to put it. So to be told that I can't use my coping strategy, which actually did help in that moment, it's really difficult. I told my parents about that, and they said, stuff it. If you need to go out the back and sit down, you do that. You need to put yourself first. And I do, and I try to. And that's why I do that, why I take those moments, because I'm trying to regulate and sort of fight against my natural instinct, which is to be a bit of a bitch when I'm faced with these conflict situations. They said take that time. If that's what you need to do that. And if they don't like it, you just have to say, well, sorry, this is what I need. And if that becomes a bigger issue for them, well, I don't know what to tell them. I know I'm not necessarily suited to this job. as a highly sensitive person. The sort of micro interactions all day long is very exhausting. But, oh, sorry, just checking the time. I'm sitting in the car on my, about to go to work, so that's why. Yeah. I don't have a massive support system. I'm very grateful to have my parents at the moment. I've had to put a lot aside in regards to, the past with them, but I'm grateful to have that relationship because I feel like I don't have anyone. Yeah. And work is a big part of my life, whether it's my dream job or not, Work for most people is a big part of their life because they spend a lot of time there. And it's sad that, people don't see that I'm actually how far I've come in the 3.5 years that I've worked here. And it's not healthy to feel like I can't talk about myself with my workmates. It is that kind of workplace. We all, we are quite casual with each other with what we talk about. But I feel like as a whole, they don't actually really care. They're so wrapped up in their own worlds. Maybe it's just because I am that sensitive person who understands what it's like not to be heard, but it'd be nice if there was a bit of effort coming my way as well. Anyway, this is a long video, a bit rambly, but it's important to document these things because, makes me feel a bit shitty. There's a tui up there. They like to sit in the beautiful pink trees that are all around here. I can't really show you any at the moment, but yeah. Anyway, I should go. As always, you have to continue to put yourself first, Bye.